Here's the thing. The question was a very important one. The question was a question about terrorism. Are Muslim terrorists? Now all I'm going to do is I'm going to lay out two answers in front of you and you can choose whichever answer you think is correct. Is that fair?
Yes.
Okay, now here's the thing. You have one answer. Muslims are terrorists. They have in their book that you kill the disbelievers. They are just out there, they hate women and they know how to make bombs. That's what Muslims do. That's one answer you get from the media. Here's a slightly different answer. Slightly different. Yeah? Now this answer only requires one thing from you. It requires you to separate your emotions from looking at the facts. That's all. That's all it requires you to do. Now here's the thing. If we look back into any act of terrorism, whether it's done by a Jew, Muslim, Christian, atheist, whoever, you will always find that there are a minority within their own bigger number. And here's the thing, the minority has grudges because of injustices that have been done to it. But you do not put out a fire by putting oil on it. Yeah? So in Iraq, in 1990s, over 100,000 civilians were killed. Likewise, in Algeria, these are due to Western governments. In Algeria, over 1 million Muslims were killed. Likewise, all over these countries where there's oil, there's a lot of bloodshed. So you have a lot of angry Muslims. Now these angry Muslims, they sometimes do things in the name of Islam, which is against Islam. That is more of a simple answer, and here's the thing. If Islam permits violence against civilians, it should be in the Quran. But all I'm going to do is this, and I really want you guys to listen to this, because this is not my word. This is the Quran translated, and this is not a translation I just made up. This is a translation by Oxford University. Okay? All I'm going to do is I'm going to read out the section on warfare. That's all I'm going to do. Here's the section on jihad. Here's the section on warfare from the Quran. God will defend the believers. God does not like the unfaithful or the ungrateful. Those who have been attacked are permitted to take up arms because they have been wronged. God has the power to help them. Those who have been driven unjustly from their homes for saying, "Our Lord is God." If God did not repel some people by means of others, many monasteries, churches, synagogues and mosques where God's name is much invoked would have been destroyed. God is sure to help those who help his cause. God is strong and mighty. Clearly, according to this verse, who can you fight? The people who attacked you. Here's the thing, I don't agree with 7/7, with the 50 innocent people that died. I don't agree with September the 11th, with 3,000 civilians that have died. But nor do I agree over the last 5 years, over 1 million civilians that have been killed in Iraq and Afghanistan. I don't agree with that. What I simply say as the second opinion is this. Where there is oppression, some people do things, and to justify the wars, the media has to build around this thing of Muslims being the evil people, in the same way the Russians were the enemies in the 1970s. So that's the best answer I can give you guys.
Yeah, but the perpetrators of those outrages on the underground were born in this country. They'd never been abroad. So what justification, how can you justify what's going on in Iraq perpetrated by people who were born in this country? They're supposed to be British people.
Sure. A very good question by the sir. The sir was asking, the 7/7 bombers were actually born in the UK. They were born and bred in the UK. That's fair, sir, but here's the thing. In the UK, there's over 2 billion Muslims, over 100,000 converts to Islam. They are a very minority of people who saw the injustices in Iraq, and they did something which itself is against the teachings of Islam. You cannot take 7 or 8 people and use them to judge a religion of 1 in 4 people on this planet.
There's been a lot more since then that have been thwarted by MI6. How many are in prison now who had plans to perpetrate more outrages?
Okay, sir, I'm just going to ask you a simple thing. I don't agree with 7/7, or I don't agree with September the 11th. These are all against Islam.
Is that view shared by all your cohorts?
Okay, now here's the thing, sir. It doesn't matter what I say. I could lie to you. I'm saying to you it's in the Quran. If anyone disagrees,
read it, had they?
Have you read it?
No.
No. Then how can you make a judgment if you haven't read it?
Haven't read it. You're saying it.
Here you go, sir. Would you like to read it?
If you're saying,
would you like to read it?
No, I do.
Then I'm not going to talk to you because you're making a judgment without having knowledge. Does that make sense? No. Does that make sense at all? So you judge a book and he's refusing.
Is it about a God in the sky? Is it?
Okay.
Yes, it is.
Now here's the thing.
I don't believe it.
Here's the thing. The man doesn't want to read it, but if there's anyone else who's open-minded, raise your hand, I can give you a Quran.
I don't like people who raise their hand!
Thank you. Madam?
And I don't like people who can't laugh!
Madam, there's another madam over there. Madam? Anybody else? Sir? Anybody else on this side? Come on guys, don't be shy. Free.
By the way, I'm not...
Would you like one, madam? Would you like one, madam? You can have one more. We insist.
Thank you.
Sir, there you go. Does anyone else? I thank you all guys for listening. You've been great. If you've got any more questions, just ask any of the guys that are here. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you. Thank you.